Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Boston and Balling. I'm your host, Gabby Hurlbut. Hope everyone's having a great week. I think the really cold weather is unfortunately finally here because this winter so far hasn't really felt like a winter because it's been weirdly warm
Exactly.
for the month of January, and it's already February now, which is crazy because I feel like the first month of the new year kind of flew by. But to me, I see it as one day closer to spring and warm weather. So hope everyone's hanging in there. I am really excited to bring you another episode. I have a really special guest with me on this episode. He's super talented, Pat's Cap, aka Miguel Benzan. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Trying to stay warm. That's why I got the hoodie on.
Yeah, I stepped outside today and I was like, I'm not comfortable with this or ready for this.
It was like you said, like the month of January is relatively incredibly warm, but this whoa now we're
Yeah,
back to
now,
yeah.
now it's saying, wake up, it's winter.
Yeah. And then you got the wind chill thing. We got the wind chill for this Saturday. Like it's gonna be really cold out.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's supposed to be like negative something,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So I'm glad we're doing it today because I'm not going out on the weekend.
Yeah, no, that Saturday is going to be one of those days where I just stay in bed all day and watch TV and do nothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
And maybe make some hot chocolate.
Oh, there you go. Some whipped cream on the top. All right.
Yeah. Which is so nice. But yeah, we actually were talking off air before we started about how we both live in Connecticut. So that's actually pretty funny too, because it's always nice to meet other fellow Connecticut people.
Yeah, go Yukon. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw your Twitter line, and I said, oh my gosh, she goes to the Yakult game, and I go, oh my gosh, I go the like 3 or 4 a year easily. I love
Yeah,
going to
Dunkin'
it.
Donuts Park is a beautiful place too.
It's a beautiful stadium, folks. If you love minor league baseball, you got to go to that stadium,
Yeah.
and also go to the stadium, the Polo Park in Worcester. It's a new stadium for AAA team. That's also a great park too.
I haven't been there yet.
Oh, it's awesome. The only problem is the parking, but the stadium itself is beautiful. Is beautiful.
That's definitely somewhere that I want to try to make it to this summer.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, I gotta. I don't even. That's a great park. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's pretty funny, but I really appreciate you hopping on the show with me. I know a lot of people follow your content and really appreciate what you do. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting your insight on some things. So before we kind of dive into the Patriots and the off season, can you just talk a little bit about yourself, how you started Pat's Cap, and kind of just what got you into really diving into the Patriots salary cap?
All right. All right. So I've always been good at math. All right.
Okay.
Um, my father was. I got it from my father. Right. So one day I'm reading in the Boston Herald. I think I got a cap number for Ted Johnson. Next day, this is way back in the day, like in 2000, right? The year
Okay.
2000. The next day, I read a different number for him in the Boston Globe, and that didn't make sense to me. And I was like, okay, so let me. I'm so that didn't make sense to me. So let me see if I can just keep track of it myself, because I knew that if I was like that didn't make sense to me. So I was like, this, we're getting bad information. So back in the day, then there was news groups. There was a KFL forum. And it was a Bosco mailing list. It's not like Twitter or the social media thing was not didn't exist back then. So I would just
Crazy to think about.
huh? No, because
Crazy
like
to think about that.
no, like Twitter wasn't back in 2000. So it was mailing lists, a Usenet news groups. Look that up, folks. KFL forum. All right. So I would go. I would tell people, Patriots fans, I was like, hey, you find any information about a Patriots deal? Let me know. And I kept on track of it. And then I started a web page, right? And it was just I didn't know HTML, so it was a basic web page. What yellow background, blue font, blue color, right? And I just keep track of it. And so I would have footnotes. So literally people would know that I had backed up my information. And I started doing that. And then I started getting noticed by beat writers. Tom Cotton wrote a story about me, what, 2002? I think early
Oh wow.
2002, right around, right near during the playoffs when and I started getting emails from people, beat writers asking for help. and then I started to get somewhat famous in social media once it became like Twitter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
Twitter came up, I started that helped me get more famous. And so like, and then the radio guys would put my name, would mention my name. So like WEI and Sports Hub would mention Miguel, aka Pat's Cup, and then that was included. And then I'm up to like what I think I got 50,000 followers on Twitter, and you could count the number of Patriots beat writers who have more than me, more followers than me, are few and far between.
Yeah.
Like I have so I started doing it, and I just been doing it ever since. I mean, it's I like to say it's a lucky coincidence, no correlation that I started doing it and they started winning Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? It's I don't I no, I'll say also say that if the Patriots the coverage of salary cap of Patriots cover was better by the beat writers back then, I would never have done it. Like there was a guy who covers the Packers, Bob McGinn. So he was doing it. If I was a Packers fan, I would have never done this. But I knew back then, like I was doing it, but I could easily find in the first couple of months of a couple of years, I knew I was doing a better job of covering the cap than the beat writers, and that's why I stuck with it.
That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah, because I feel like if it's something that you're passionate about and something that's unique that not a lot of other people are doing, you're going to be that person that people are going to for that type of information, Because if there's too many people that are covering the same thing, then why would people go to one person as opposed to the next person? That's why
yeah,
if, you know,
I'm a niche guy. I'm a niche person. Um, I was like the person who started like I was the first one to ever have a salary cap page dedicated to one team.
really.
The amateur capologists all say that, like I'm the OG because I was like um as I was the one who started. There was a in Yahoo back in the day they used to have groups, and I started a group just for amateur capologists. All right,
Oh, wow.
so I was the one who started that. Um, so I'm the one who's so I was the first one to do it to have a salary cap page. For the person who started the Yahoo group, I'm known. The other guys know as the OG. Like you see, like Jason Fitzgerald wrote a book about the salary cap, and he mentioned my name. Saying I'm like my name's in two books. Christopher Price wrote about him, wrote about me in his book, and Jason Fitzgerald. So that's kind of cool. I definitely somebody. It's funny you mentioned that. A beat writer has told me that I was lucky that I'm a niche writer. Like I wasn't. I'm not doing this for the money. Right. It's just a hobby of mine. All right. So I just try to do pay it forward. So I ask people if you like my work to don't donate to the Habitat of Humanity. All right.
Oh, I love that.
Um, it's it's my way of paying it forward. You know what I'm saying? I've been blessed. Like I said, I was good with been good with meth. I think I've been blessed with that kind of smart gene from my parents, and um my wife and I been lucky. Like even during the COVID, we didn't lose our jobs. The both of us, we kept on working. That was lucky for us. A lot of people lost their jobs, and we didn't. My wife and I didn't happen. So I just feel blessed, and I feel like I should try to help other people. And it's just a little thing. I just a salary cap thing is, in a scheme of thing, it's nothing. But if you're a fan, you should. And I can help you learn something about the salary cap because it is confusing. A little
Yeah.
bit. All right. Um, and I like doing it. I try to be helpful, friendly. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not as snarky as I am with my friends. Right? If you, I'll tell you, so like literally, sometimes people ask me questions. I have to think about my answer because what I really first said was a snacky answer, and I have a mission statement is to provide information in a friendly manner. But like sometimes if you were to meet me, we were out drinking like that. and you'd ask me some of these questions, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'd be a snacky answer. I'd be like, all right, let's do this.
That's pretty funny though. Yeah, I feel like it's so much different on Twitter because it's such a different environment. And there's different types of people that are on there that are following. So it's just
Yeah.
the audience is so much different than when you're like hanging out with friends somewhere.
It's because like when you like most of the people who interact with me might have 100 followers. All right.
Yeah.
So they don't get drive-bys. So like I have so if I put out a tweet, it might get retweeted by other people. So this could be the first time person might interact with me. And it's like I only have one time to make a first impression.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And literally, it's my name is out there. I don't have. It's literally my name. It's not hard to figure out that Pat's cap is Miguel Benzan. All right.
Yeah.
If you got an avatar, you could be Joe Blow, Jane Doe. No one knows who you are. You know what I'm saying? So I only have one. So I try to treat people the way I wanted to be treated on Twitter. All right. It's a pet peeve of mine that I hate that the when somebody starts off with "you don't think," and then blah 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 blah. Folks, I think about every answer I have on Twitter. All right, you might not agree with, but at least give me the credit for thinking about it. So it's a pet peeve of mine. You don't think? Oh, so that's what's funny. You're talking about interaction on Twitter. It's and then you get the people like, how do I say this nicely? I've been doing this for 2 decades.
Yeah.
All right. I have a routine. Like they announced the salary cap, the official league coming for this year.
Yep.
All of us who follow the salary cap has been using the same number, $225 million. It was off, but the official name was $200,000 less.
Yep.
So people asking me, did my number go up by $16.6 million? Because that's what the difference was between 2022 and 2023. And I'm like, no, I already been using a number that I thought it was going to be. I was, so that's how I was doing it. I'm like, that's every year I get to ask that same question. And I'm like, if you were me and you were covering the salary cap number and you know what the teams are using for the projection, what number would you use?
That same one.
The same one.
Yeah.
The same one. You wouldn't,
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But I was, like, so I just say, yeah. I was just off by the number. It wasn't even my number. It's the teams tell people, what their number they were using. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just learned, boom, 225.
Yeah, it's not like you pull that number just out of nowhere.
Oh no, I don't even. Somebody had asked me that before. Do I try to project what the league number is? I don't have access to the league's revenues. I have sources that let me to figure out the individual players' numbers, but to the league side, the league revenue, no way. I don't even spend time on doing that because it's a waste. I would never get it right. You would need to know so much information that's not shared with the public.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then if I were to somehow get it, I pretty much wouldn't be able to use it because it'd be a dead giveaway where it came from.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get like, I get information and I have to wait till some of it becomes public, so then I can put my spin on it, but nobody can guess where it came from. So I protect my sources that way.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I have sources, but I'm not gonna ever give out the names, and also not gonna try to write. I write my tweets in a way that I don't think I'm giving it away, the source either.
Yeah, because people wouldn't know just from looking at your tweets specifically who the people are that you're referring to.
Yeah, they don't. You don't know who. Oh, geez, how do I want to say this? When I give the first time number of a player, let's call him John Smith.
Okay.
You don't know who I got it from. You're not going to know that. You're not going to know from the way I write the tweet which source gave me that information. You're not going to. No one. Let's say this. No one. I've been doing this on. I've been Twitter. I think on 2009. No one's told me in 14 years you got this number from this beat writer or source. No one's done it in 14 years. So I'm confident what I'm doing is working.
Yeah, and I feel like especially for the Patriots in particular, like you are the go-to when it comes to analyzing those numbers for the Patriots specifically. So everybody knows to go to you. Even if they don't fully understand what your process is, they're going to go to your account because they know that you're the guy for that.
Yeah, it's the beat writers use me as a source. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if we were in the same room together, would show you my phone and I would show you the DMs. I would of the people of the beat writers.
Yeah.
Say, and it's so that's that. It's the beat writers use me as source. You see my name. Like my brother told me the other day, he heard my name on WEI the other day. I was like, all right, wow, all right.
Everybody knows you, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, that's just all right. That's why yeah, it's kind of cool that way. So
That is cool. Yeah, it definitely shows your credibility too.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'm sure you obviously get a lot of questions about, the whole process and kind of what your process is behind analyzing those numbers when it comes to the Patriots and the salary cap in particular. So, when people ask you things like, please help me understand in the most basic way possible what the salary cap is and, what's your process behind figuring out all of these numbers? What's kind of your general answer to that question?
Well, if you're looking for the best way I would say to learn about the salary cap is to plug my friend's Jason Fitzgerald's book, Crunching Numbers. He has a book out there.
Okay.
The problem is he wrote it several years ago, and the CBA has changed since then. It's still the old version. The version that's out there now is still worth reading, but knowing do you buy a book knowing that he might come out with a new book in the next year or two? All right. So
Yeah.
I feel weird recommending a book that I know is going to come out with a new edition. But if you want to learn about the salary cap and you don't care about spending money on an old book, on a book that will be soon out of date, then buy that book. All right. Otherwise, I just keep on follow me on Twitter. Follow Joel Corey, who's a former agent. Jason Fitzgerald. Those and PFF Brad's. Oh no, I spell it. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Sorry. For those four, and then for details of the contracts, I would recommend following Aaron Wilson, Tom Pelissaro, Ian Rappaport. Oh no, not Ian. And Field Yates.
Not yet.
Ian and Adam, they're just puppets of what the agents tell them. So I find their reporting, salary cap reporting, to be just whatever the agents told them. They spin their deals like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like they used to, I think maybe 2 years ago they stopped saying they started making the difference between up to. They used to say like 5 years, $100 million, and then we find out that $100 million had a whole bunch of incentives in it, so it wasn't really, I'm like, and then so I think someone got to them, and now they're including incentives in it, or maybe after Twitter went from 140 to 280 characters, they decided to add information. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's literally those two guys. I mean, I know I follow them just because but those guys, in terms of reporting, to help me figure out a salary cap number, isn't not well. And
That's just not what you would go to.
like, for example, in order for me to figure it out, right? I need to know the player's salary for that year, the signing bonus. And for the Patriots, right, I need to know the active roster bonuses. All right, because they always have them in the deals for any veteran deal. All right, I need to know the incentives. Right. And when they say 5 years, 200, blah, 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 and X amount of the guarantee, that's not enough detail for me to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Huh.
Like, it's just not enough. I need, the nitty gritty. Like,
Yeah.
so for each year, and they include injury guaranteed. I don't know how much nerdy you want to get, okay? But there's a difference between injury guaranteed, full guaranteed, guaranteed salary, signing bonus. That stuff is not enough for me to figure it out. And that's the stuff that, people will tweet at me. Hey, what's the guys? They'll tweet out the big picture number, big picture reporting. I'm like, hey, Miguel, what's the guy's cap number? It's not. I don't have enough detail.
Okay.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait. You gotta be patient and wait. Like when my free agent will start on March 15th, and you'll hear, hey, this guy got a 4-year, $80 million deal.
Yeah, that's like what the comment on Twitter, that's usually what the tweet will say.
Yeah,
If a team signs somebody, is just how many years is it and just total what they're going to be getting.
yeah. And then people think, oh, his cap number in the first year is $20 million each year. That's not. It doesn't work that way. It
Yeah.
does not work that way because the signing bonus is prorated. So, so, I don't have enough information. And
So then
especially if
how do you go? So then since that's not enough information, how do you then go deeper to get more information to make
oh,
your numbers more accurate?
you gotta reach out to my sources.
So then you reach out to your sources
Yeah,
to
and then
find out
or
more
I
specifics
yeah,
about the
or
deal.
I look at two or three back in it. I used to look at two or three tweets, and maybe from that tweet they give me that number. From another tweet,
Okay.
they give me some salary, and this guy gives me the signings bonus amount. All right, then I can figure it. I come close, but we'll see. That it's then I'll just double check with the sources. So like literally, oh my gosh, how much I want to say? I don't give out a source. No, I can't say that part. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry, folks. I can't. I can't give it up. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying, because for you, who's crunching all those numbers together constantly, there's definitely more information that we, meaning the public, don't see, that you need to know to be able to make that accurate.
Yeah, and like I'll say, like for example, there are rules about what gets counted in the cap. All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Like for example, weight bonuses. Trent Brown has a weight bonus in his deal. That counts against the cap automatically because that's under his control. All right.
Okay.
That's it. I consider that an incentive, but they don't. In the CBA, they don't really consider it. It's always against the cap. All right. Oh my gosh. Then there's like guaranteed bonus. Well, I don't get too nerdy, so that's just yeah. I need to know. Sometimes I got to reach out to my sources to figure out what's going on.
So then, okay, yeah. So then basically, once you get all the numbers and you crunch everything together, how long does that usually take you to go through, like, per player?
Oh, not that long. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. How long has my data entry input? Not that. Maybe 2 minutes at most. No, no, it can't be 2 minutes because I'm not that bad of a typist. No, because I'm like looking at Hold on a minute. How many rows do I have? How many columns do I have? Hold on. I ain't
I
forget.
am curious how many columns that your spreadsheets have.
Okay. I go to. Oh, I haven't filled it out all the way out. I'm up to column T. How many?
Oh,
What's
wow.
T? Yeah. I'm up to T. So I see okay, but it's
So
so
does
like
each
my spread.
player get a column?
Huh?
Each player, do you have columns
No,
for?
no. Each play has their own row,
Okay.
and then
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
have
Okay.
and then I have um T column. So like I have each play has their own ID number. All right. So
Okay.
okay, just then I get the name, oh my gosh. I gotta unhide some columns here before this. All right, let's see what we got. Position, years in the league, signed through, then the top 51, where they rank among on the team in terms of the salary cap hit, the salary, the signing bonus proration, active roster, amount, incentive, likely be an incentive, workout bonus. Then I have the roster cap which is if they make the roster, 53-man roster, and then the current cap number. Because people who are not in the top 51, they might not have a cap number at all. Right? Because right
Okay.
now the Patriots have 60 players on the roster. The salaries of the bottom 9 don't count against the cap. All right. So like, I'm trying to think of a guy in the bottom. I can't even think of a guy in the bottom now. Okay, Brad Hawkins. He doesn't have he's
Okay.
not counting against the cap right now. He has a
Oh,
$750,000 salary, but he's not counting zero against the Patriots cap.
that's so
So,
interesting. I didn't know that.
yes, yes. Oh my gosh, trying to get the beat writers to understand that was a change. Like still, it's a pet peeve of mine because they still get the draft picks because they forget about the top 51 rule. So the Patriots right now have about 11 draft picks. Let's pretend that they don't make a trade. Let's pretend, all right? And let me just go to that. If they don't make a trade, those 12 players, the cap hit would be $12.47 million.
Okay.
But because of the top 51 rule, the net impact is going to be $3.5 million. Because the bottom guys you draft someone in the 6th, 7th, 5th round, when they get signed, the only part of the cap hit that's going to count against the cap is the signing bonus proration. The salary won't count against the cap.
Oh.
And yeah, so let's say in the 14th pick, all right, he's going to bump off a player off the top 51 list, and that player is going to probably might have a salary of $870,000. So that's the difference, and then you add and it's so the beat writers will keep on saying $12 million. Well, it's actually $3.5 million. Pet peeve of mine. And like I don't, and people like for me, like now I'm in the stage where we're in the stage where signing the practice squad players will actually take up more cap space than signing the draft class.
Huh.
Yet I will not get asked about practice squad players. I will get several questions about the impact of signing the draft picks because the NFL has made it a big deal about the draft.
Yeah.
So it's every day from now going until every day till the draft, you hear about the draft. All right, something. So people think about the cap impact, and I'm like, don't worry about it. If a team needs space, because you don't have to sign the draft picks until right before training camp, and that's in July.
Yeah.
So and then after June 1st, you cut a trade player, you don't have that much dead money because you only have 1 year signing bonus proration. So if you cut so you got the future signing rules will hit the cap the following year. So I don't even worry about the draft picks. I'm like,
Okay.
okay, if they need the space, they'll create the space. And like the Patriots have been, they never really had since I've been doing it, except for 2001 and maybe 2001 and 2000. They never really had a top 10 pick, which has a lot of caps, takes up a lot of cap. All right. And right now they have the 14th. Last year they had the 15th. When you're in the middle of the round, the cap impact of assigning a draft class isn't that bad. It's not really that bad. Like the Texans and who have like a couple of high draft picks, they definitely have to set aside money to sign their draft picks, right? Because especially if they keep the 2 first rounders. But if you're in the middle of the round, the first round,
It doesn't really.
don't worry about it.
Okay.
The practice squad guys will end up costing more money.
See, that's so
So,
good to know though, because I feel like that's such a misconception
oh
for
my, yeah,
people, and a lot of people wouldn't know that. And so for the Patriots, like you said, if you're thinking about when they usually draft, they're in, the mix of people, the mix of teams where they're drafting where it's not probably really going to be a huge impact on them
nope.
financially who they do draft.
Yeah, it doesn't make for them when you're drafted in the middle of the round or lately at the end of the round. Signing draft class is easy. Is a piece of cake. That's not what you're worrying about. The front office is not worrying about the signing the draft picks. They're gonna be more worried about who gets hurt during preseason because that hurts. That hurts your cap. The more guys you carry on IR, that really hurts you.
Okay. Yeah, so
Uh,
that's kind of more of the focus than what they're really doing during the draft.
yeah. Oh, I mean, I know like the cap guy. I can't. He might tell them, "Hey, this is the number of the impact," but I don't think he's worried about it at all. At
Okay.
all.
Yeah.
You know, they should. At least they shouldn't be, because I could do it.
I mean, yeah, and with the Patriots, because obviously, we've seen them spend money and be aggressive. Especially this past off season and the off season before that, they'll spend money in places where they need to. I feel like so in terms of this off season right now, how
Yeah.
much room are they realistically,
Tell me how.
looking at?
Right now, I got him with $34 million. I
Okay.
can get him. I could get him. I can create probably double that space if I want to. If I want to get aggressive. All right.
Okay.
There's two plans. Let's just say we have a plan. Two ways of thinking about it. You bring, and let's say one plan is to get a number one wide receiver. All right.
Would
That
be
plan.
fantastic.
Wait, okay, that plan. Like what? Okay, that plan is different than the plan of signing, going back and re-signing Jacoby Myers. All right, and that plan is different. So we'll know what the plan will do. We'll see what happens. All right. I don't think, for example, I don't think they. I believe they need offensive tackle, a wide receiver,
Yes.
cornerback, and a linebacker for the future. All right. Those are, in that, maybe in that order. All right. If you trade away the first round pick in order to get a number one wide receiver, how do you then get the offensive tackle? You know what I'm saying? That, like, because good off, that you gotta, I believe you're gonna have to sign and draft one, maybe replace. That's the whole thing. I don't know where they're gonna do. Like, I wish I knew they would tell us, hey, we're to get rid of Trent Brown.
Yeah.
Because they're like, we're to get rid of Trent Brown. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a whole different plan. If they're to keep Trent Brown, what you could do in the offseason is different, and what your plan is going to be different. I'm saying I don't know that. So I started, when you asked me to be on the show, and I started writing up and thinking about an off-season plan for me. I'm like, man, I got like three different directions I can go in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to spend that much time doing that. Three different plans.
Yeah.
Because last year I only had one plan. Because I have so many needs this year. I mean, I got
Yeah.
three different plans, but I can all get, and then like if I cut Trent Brown, that means I have to do something for the tackles. If I get a number one, if my plan is to get a number one wide receiver, I'm probably cutting Devontae Parker. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if I'm keeping if I'm not going after number one, I'm probably keeping Devontae Parker. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I started doing one, and all I know is they can create the cap space they need to get the players. That's all I can say. All right, because they have different ways of doing it. They like we mentioned. I'm not saying they're gonna do them all, and nor would I do them all. All right, but they could extend Matthew Judon, or convert some of Matthew Judon's salary into signing bonus to create cap space. Depending on how they feel about the tight ends. All right, you got two very expensive tight ends, Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith.
Yeah. They
Right?
spent a lot of money on them.
And guess which fan was so happy they did so? This guy over here. I was I this guy over here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, look at me. Literally, I was like telling, I wish they signed John Smith. All right, they signed John Smith. I'm so happy. I'm like, literally, as a fan, I'm like, oh my god, I got that right. All right. A couple of days later, they said Hunter Henry. I'm like, oh my gosh. I run up and tell my wife this. I usually never bug my wife about while she's working about salary cap stuff, but I had to tell her about Hunter Henry. All right,
That's
and
funny.
then yet, they're not. They haven't gotten the production. These guys have not
It's
played to their
Yeah.
cap value. And like I said this on another podcast. Like I do not understand why they converted John Smith's salary into a signing bonus and then not use him during the year. It's like the left hand was not talking to the right hand. And I know that Matt Patricia is like he's I have I seen the contracts? I know. Okay, so Ben Volin of the Boston Globe has said that Matt Patricia's name is on the contracts. All right,
Okay. Yeah.
so he's the guy who signed off on the contracts, and he's an offensive coordinator. So you think if you like, give the guy all this money and make his cap hit this so much larger in the future years that you would use the guy in
Yeah.
2022?
That's what you would think. With
Yeah,
all that
you think.
money that they were spending, you would
Yeah,
think
you
that they
think
would
they
want
would
to
think, but
utilize him
yeah,
more.
but no, Oh, so no, they did not do that. So like, so let's get back to concrete cap space. But Hunter Henry, you got to extend him. I don't think he's in his last year in his deal, so you can't do the convert salary and the signing bonus thing unless you want to use void years. All right, I don't. The Patriots, I think, are going away from doing that. They know they got Devin McCourty. I don't think they'll be doing the void years anymore. All right. What they could do with Jono Smith is, well, we're talking about June 1st and signing the draft picks. They could designate him because they have enough cap space now. They could designate him, say, hey, we're going to cut this with a June 1 designation. Leave him on their books as his current cap number, right? And then he comes off the books on June 2nd. You get about $4 million in cap space and use that $4 million to sign your draft picks. All right, and then you wash your hands away from them. All right, then you have some dead money this year, and you have some dead money next year. All right, I cannot see them other than that or trading him, and I don't know who would trade for him. All right, because
Yeah,
if you
not at
trade,
this point.
like literally, the Patriots will have, hey, we'll give you third draft picks to take him off a deal. You know what I'm saying? No, that's the only way I can see it happening.
Just get him off this roster.
Yeah, get him off the roster. But I'm like, that's the only way I can see it happening. So like, but if the team does, I'd rather have them keep the draft picks than do that. Than pay for the guy to go away. But we'll see what happens. That's the only way that I can see them trading them.
Okay.
So let's just keep on talking about creating cap space because here we go.
Yeah, I mean, because
so
it's that situation was definitely disappointing. Obviously, the fact that they didn't really utilize him, and it's like, well, why would you pay all this money then if you don't know how to utilize him or you just don't want to?
Oh, I think I don't know which one it was, but
I don't
either way,
either.
either way, it was frustrating.
It
Either
was.
way, it's frustrating. I was, oh my gosh, because I literally went on. I was so happy when they signed both of them.
Oh yeah, when they first signed both of them, it looked great for the Patriots. I was like, let's go. We have two very good tight ends on the team now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you're not. And it's we're not gonna pay one guy $25 million because we got two guys at 12.5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like so if like that one guy gets hurt, at least you got you're kind of screwed. But if one of the guys 12.5 months, at least you got the other guy. Oh, okay, whatever. Right. So they have plenty of ways so continue. Like you got to go what the money is. I know. I am confident Devin McCourty will not be on this roster on March 16th at $9.7 million. All right. He's if he retires, they'll do something like lower his salary, blah blah, to the very minimum, and create about $5 million in cap space. All right. They could push out money with Dietrich Wise. No pun intended, but but they could do that. That wouldn't be a wise move. Blah blah blah. You could make a cut or two. I'm not saying they would. Saying they could do it with Kendrick Bourne or Devontae Parker, especially if they decide to get another one, another big time wide receiver. All right.
Yeah.
Like a Hopkins, a Jerry Jeudy, or whatever. I know somebody's gonna listen to this and say, "How come you didn't name that wide receiver?" Well, this time is short.
I don't know. I mean, I would love to see them get one of those caliber receivers. I just don't know if I'm seeing it happen.
So the problem with that whole idea of getting a number one, those guys is, one, is the current team willing to trade them? Two, what draft picks are you willing to give up? All right. And three, why do you expect the Patriots to win the bidding war?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
It's not like in fantasy football. All right, folks. Like you can make the offers. All right, but doesn't mean that it has to be fair for both sides. And you get it. And there's some other teams also need wide receivers. And
Yeah.
other teams might decide to be. If you think of, like, for example, I heard like you give up a number 2 and get Jerry Judy. All right. Well, the Patriots Jerry middle second round pick is in the middle of the second round. What if the guy up near the top of the second round says, "Oh, we're going to give him that pick"? You know, say what
Yeah.
those things, or if some guy late in the first round wants to say, "I'll give him my first round. I'll try to do what the Browns, the Eagles did with AJ Brown."
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's not are you willing to give up the 14th pick to get a guy that's and plus some and the talent, and I'll say this, I think it's gonna be if it's a team like the Cincinnati Bengals or the Broncos with Jerry Judy, I'm giving up. I'm not taking less than what the Tennessee Titans got for AJ Brown, which was a first and a third. One reason why is that the talent out there, the wide receiver talent, like free agent wise, is sparse. When Jacoby Myers and Juju Smith-Schuster are the top 2 available free agents, that's not a good wide receiver class.
Nah. Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, I
Definitely
love
not.
Jacoby, but really, he's the top one. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can't really think, hey, this guy can run. You throw him the ball at the you get the ball at the Patriots 20. Does anyone think he's going to get the 80 yards, run 80 yards deep, and make outrun the rest of the other teams of secondary and get out of yet? No. And then even I heard, like, I don't really follow the draft, but I know a little bit about the draft. I heard this wide receiver class is not as good as past years.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. So so like this supply and demand, folks. So yeah. So I don't know. Well, I will this Saturday, because it's so cold. I actually might probably do the 3 off-season plans. All right.
It's just such an interesting offseason for the Patriots just because there's quite a few holes that they need to address that we saw this past season. So I feel like the way that they go about addressing those, what we're going to know soon, but there's so many different ways that they could address different areas.
Yeah, and no team is perfect.
Yeah. So
I don't expect them to fill all their holes. All right. So I think, and I'm okay with that because I know there's never been a perfect team. All right. And I'll just say that to people who follow me on Twitter. There's 90 guys on the roster. I don't expect all 90 guys to be all pros. So when you say, like, I don't ever tag a player on my tweets.
Okay.
But I know players' families follow me. I know that for a fact. So I just ask you to just be respectful to the player. And let's not call him a jag, because he's an athlete that's probably at a much higher level than you are.
Yeah.
All right. So all right. And he's trying to accomplish his dream. And let's not diminish it by calling him and saying he's just a jag. He's just roster fodder and all that. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to accomplish his dream.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, he's doing it publicly. All right. I don't think he would go to your job and saying you stink.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so true though. It's so true. He's not gonna walk into somebody's office and be like, "Oh, you're terrible at your job." Yeah.
Really. All right. All right. Because it's the key.
It's true, because they are people first, and I feel like some people on Twitter forget that when it comes to watching games and calling athletes names like that, because it's tough to see because they're people before athletes, and being a professional athlete is just so happens to be what they're trying to accomplish in their life, as opposed to somebody else who's trying to do something else. Yeah.
And especially if you play fantasy football, God, please, these guys don't. Goodness gracious, this is not their job to score points for you. Oh gosh. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely tough. And I feel like certain players obviously are not going to be as productive as others on the team, but that doesn't mean they deserve the name calling.
No one No one deserves name calling at all.
It's kind of like there were so many mixed opinions on Mac Jones, and there still are, I think. And I saw this rumor floating around about how they might look into trading Mac Jones this offseason. I don't really buy anything like that.
I'm gonna keep
But
my mouth shut.
it's interesting to kind of be scrolling through Twitter and see something like that pop up and emerge.
I got nothing to say. I got let's just say I'm a Mac Jones. I'm right with Mac and Jones. And that's all I gotta say. I was trying to let's just say if we were drinking and my friend told me, yeah, he thinks that Bailey Zappi was the better quarterback, I might spit up my drink at him. And I was like in laughter. Oh, yeah, because like literally one of my friends, we all drinking, and he's asking me about Bailey Zappi, and I'm just like, what? Come on, come on, you watch? All right, okay, all right. I mean, I know Mac Jones didn't have a good year. I'm not saying that, but he was playing actually given a different offense. They were giving Bailey Zappi a different offense. So let's and Mac Jones, whatever. Let's just move on.
Yeah, he didn't have a good season. We all definitely know that. But also, it's like, I mean, when Matt Patricia was calling the offense and, he didn't really have much to work with offensively, it's hard to really judge him based on the quarterback that he is.
Yeah. You're polite because I don't even know what Matt Patricia was doing was actually calling an offense. I think he was calling plays.
Yeah, I mean it's really I'm really happy to know that they brought Bill O'Brien in. Hopefully that'll be a better scenario for the offense than it was with.
But the bar is so low.
Yeah.
The bar is so low, folks.
You couldn't really get much worse than that.
No, you can't. You really can't. Oh my gosh, I'm a fan. I've been a fan of football for a very long time. Even when the Patriots were really, really bad.
Yeah.
I thought the offense was like, oh no. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Imagine when they were 1-15. Oh my gosh. Even then they looked better than last year's team.
I don't know what this offense was, but it was incredibly frustrating to watch a lot of games.
Like if you never watched football before, and you decided to watch the Patriots you got set back in your knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah. And
100%.
I mean, the defense was good, and that's why it was so frustrating. Because if they could have an offense that was able to match what the defense was doing, they'd be a good team.
And I want to remind everyone, all off season last year, all the beat writers were saying that the offense would have to carry the defense.
Oh yeah.
All off season. So this year it actually happened. The reverse happened. All right. So let's so remember that, folks. When you hear what they're gonna predict, the beat writers predict for the Patriots in 2023. Remember what they said about the defense preseason last year. They were dead wrong. They're patting themselves on the back about getting the offense right, but none of them said they were wrong about the defense.
No, it's true. It's so true. Yeah, because the defense proved so many people wrong this year. They were actually really good.
Yeah, but do you hear the beat writers saying they were wrong about the defense?
No.
But you hear them patting themselves. Oh, I told you this offense was going to be bad from July. I told you that. But you also told me that the offense was going to carry the defense.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
I sometimes get in a rant about the media because they literally do not ever. They do not like to say they're wrong. I swear.
No, they don't.
And like literally they don't. So it's like, all right, that's all I gotta say. I make mistakes all the time, and I don't like it's a joke. Like I'll take a lap. I say that all the time because I make mistakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We all do, but
we all do. Some of us admit to them. Some of us don't.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Some people are will step up and say, I made a mistake here. and acknowledge the situation.
Yeah.
Other people will just act like it didn't happen if they made a mistake.
Okay. So you've been hanging out with my friends then. Just kidding. Just kidding. Sorry.
It's true though. People do
Yeah.
that. They'll just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
act like it didn't happen or ignore it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Didn't happen at all.
Well, what did happen is Tom Brady is now retired
Yeah.
officially.
Officially. Finally.
Yeah.
Finally. Finally. How would you like to be born on February 1st and have him retire on 2 straight February 1st?
I
That's
know, isn't
the
that
day.
crazy?
That's the day that people are gonna know. Remember from now on, not your birthday, but that's the day that Tom Brady retired 2 years in a row. Finally retired.
I actually believe it this time though because he was crying in that video.
Was he?
Yeah, the video that he
I saw the
posted.
video. I believe it. I'm like so. Oh, I was so. I'm so happy he retired because I'm like sick and tired of hearing. Oh, he's gonna go to the 49ers. Oh,
I was hearing
yeah.
Raiders.
Huh?
I was hearing Raiders.
Okay, whatever. I mean, like literally, why would you go to the Raiders? Like that. Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, go to the 49ers. Go to another team that has everything but the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that's really challenging. I was like, okay, I know you're 45 years old, but hey, pick another team to go easy and win with. All right, yeah, and he'll get all the credit too. He would have gotten all the credit if they had won the Super Bowl.
I mean, that was a disaster. He did not look good at all in that playoff game.
Oh, yeah. Um,
Tough.
it was rough.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers were lucky they were playing that division. Oh
Oh,
my,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
oh
Yeah,
my
because
God.
that division just happened to be terrible this year. So they're lucky they were in the worst division in football.
And like somebody said this on Twitter, and I forget who it says, and I hate not giving credit to the papers. And like the first team in that division who gets a quarterback, look out. They might not, they might go win 4 or 5 titles in a row. And like because you're gonna be like ahead of the rest of the pack.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I know Teddy. Let's talk about the impact of Tom Brady on the Patriots' his retirement. All right,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people want him to retire as a Patriot. Right now, he's on the Buccaneers roster. All right,
Yeah.
he can't officially retire from the Patriots until he's off the Buccaneers roster. It behooves the Buccaneers for Tom Brady to officially retire on June 2nd, so they
Okay.
can push off some dead money until 2024. Um, if he remains on, if they have to take a $35 million dead money hit from him this year, then they should just blow up the team.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
say 2023, boom, we won a Super Bowl. We'll use 2023 as to clean up our books
Yep.
and just blow up the team. All right.
Okay.
But if you're gonna push off, have some dead money from Tom Brady this year and a lot more next year, I don't know if they're gonna trade, like get rid of, like some people talk about trading for Mike Evans at second head
I
after
did see that. Yeah.
right? Then you have a dead money hit, a 24 million dead hit for Tom Brady, and oh my gosh, I'm gonna forget the number, $12 million dead hit for 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 Mike Evans in 2024. That's $36 million in dead money for 2 players. All right.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And so you're gonna probably have a bad year this year. Then you have $36 million for 2 players, excuse me, in 2024, which is not going to help you. I mean, you can win if you have a lot of dead money because the Rams are showing us, all right?
Yeah.
But it severely decreases your chances, all right? So the Buccaneers have to decide: are we going to go through cap hell 1 year or 2 year? I think if they go 1 year, I don't see them trading. If they go 2 year, have 2 years with Ted Brennan, I don't see him getting rid of like Mike Evans. Doesn't mean I don't see that happening.
Okay.
But I don't think they're going to sign Jack Devin, who does the Browns, covers the Browns salary cap. Had mentioned, don't look at who they could trade. If you're looking at the Buccaneers, don't look who you could trade for. Look who you could sign. And boy, oh boy, did they have a bunch of players on their defense who are going to be free agents. Look at
Okay.
those. If you look at, that's what I would look at. All right. As for Tom Brady, I'll just talk about cap wise. All right.
Yeah.
I remember what 2003 he converted salary into signing bonus. So I knew in 2006 he would have a high cap number. All right.
Okay.
In 2006, he had 5 years. He converted salary again in 2004. Then he signing bonus in 2005. That has an option bonus in 2006. So in 2006, he had signing bonuses from 5 different deals on his deal. I was like, wow. And I was like, that's like I haven't seen. And then until last year till I saw that happen again with another player. He became the league's highest paid player in 2010, which happened to be an uncapped year. So you can't use a percentage, right? Because it was uncapped, so you can't say what his percentage was.
Okay.
And so for me, so he and then Eli surpasses him as a high. The two highest paid quarterbacks played in the fall year Super Bowl, right? And and then and I just always said to me that proves to me that it doesn't matter how much you pay a quarterback. If they're good or great, you can never overpay a great quarterback, right? And because they made them Tom Brady the highest paid quarterback in the league in 2010. They went to a Super Bowl the next year. They started a string of making the AFC Conference Championship 8 straight years. All right, and I don't know why he's decided in 2013. I don't know why he decided to to make less money. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Don't want to guess. I just think that the Patriots end up spending. They didn't, I don't think. Bottom line is, I think the money they would have spent on Brady, they just didn't spend at all. I think they kept on spending. They didn't spend more on the other players. They just didn't spend it.
Oh, okay.
I like
That's interesting.
yeah, no, because in 2017, his salary was $1 million. $1 million.
Wow.
Okay, they
Wow.
spent about 170. The cap was I think 170 off the top of my head. They spent around that much money on the other players. They spent, so there wasn't that much difference. I was like, I think if I've said this before. Do I think they would have won 3 Super Bowls in 5 years if he was the highest paid player in the league as he would have been? Probably, probably not.
Okay.
But especially because this team puts a lot of players on IR. And like in 2014, they had a real good health, so I don't think it would have mattered what you paid Brady. All right, 2015, the team was 10-0 and then started having injuries, and then as well as Tom Brady played during the second half of that year, and he played well the whole year, right? He still couldn't take a broken team to the Super Bowl. He just couldn't do it. It's like they had so many injuries. I literally was every week they had a different offensive line starting offensive line
Yeah.
combination. All right.
Yeah.
And I said this before, and I don't know. Like in 2016, Joe Flacco signed a deal with the Ravens and got a $40 million signing bonus. A couple weeks later, John Brady signs a deal with the Patriots and got 70%, $28 million signing bonus. And I think he should have. I don't think he could definitely have asked for like double what Flacco, but he got 70% of what as a signing bonus. I was like, oh my God. And like God bless. I'm like, goodness gracious. I said I know him. I think if he had gotten like a huge signing bonus, this whole idea like when you leave, when this end of the year thing, the end of contract thing, might not ever happen because he couldn't let him go because he couldn't take that. He wouldn't want to take that cap hit. As it ended up, they had $13.5 million cap hit, but probably would have been more if he had gotten a bigger signing bonus.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, that's
That's so interesting.
saying as let's just capsize. The one thing I remember like the most is a personal moment with not Tom Brady. So one time I went to my wife and I went to the Cardinals game in Arizona.
Mhm.
Willie McGinnis's mother went out there and Mills. I think she fainted.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you could
Jeez.
see, yeah. So she's on the on the ground, and you could see the look of concern on Tom Brady's face because he was right in my eye of vision. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys just like you knew that he was really concerned. I'm like, oh, that's like I don't know how many times he met Billy McGinnis, but that stuck out to me. Like he was really worried. Like that stuck out to me. I don't even know. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's actually really sad.
Why?
The story.
Well, I mean, I think she was all right. And
Okay.
she ended up, right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know if it was because of the heat or anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but I know.
Oh, okay. But she was fine.
Yeah, she ended up being fine, but
Oh,
his
okay.
look of concern was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, he's so. Like that was like made him human. It's like I never. I didn't talk to him.
It humanizes the player a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool, actually, to be able to see that. Yeah, because I feel like sometimes people forget they're not able to separate the person from the athlete because you only see the athlete side of them.
Yeah. It's like yeah, exactly.
Wow.
That's
That's
why I
an
don't.
interesting story.
Yeah, that's why I don't tag players on my tweets at all. I don't.
It makes sense. You don't want, yeah, the players get enough negativity as it is, and they don't. I feel like Twitter is definitely not a safe space for them.
Yeah, because I'm talking about their money. And it's
Yeah.
say I'm not talking. I'm not tagging players at all.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I mean, I found out I was blocked by like Garrett Blunt because
Really?
yeah,
Why?
I guess I thought it because I talked about his incentives one day, but I found out later he was blocking everyone in the media. And I'm like, oh, I'm just a
Oh.
fan, but he considered me a media because I tweeted it.
Like, yeah, he probably just considered you part of the media.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I was like, what? Like I never tagged you, but I guess one of my followers tagged him because I had said something about his incentives. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's so unfortunate.
I was like, and then I found out. I was like, what? What? He tagged it, but then he blocked out everyone. Like there's a guy who used to work for Football Outsiders, Scott Kazma.
Okay.
He blocked me. He's blocked me.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's because I'm a Patriots fan. I was like, literally, okay. I guess I'm like, okay. I'm just a Patriots fan. I guess I'm like, all right. The downside of being somewhat famous on Twitter is like you get blocked by people out of the blue.
Yeah, and you have to understand why.
He blocked me. Oh, I block people. I understand because I block people all the time on Twitter. I'm like, all right. If you're let's just if you're a jerk to people on Twitter, I'm probably gonna just I'll probably just block you because I just don't need to deal like that.
Yeah, you don't need to be like that to people. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, all right, you can be, yeah, you might not be a jerk to me, but if you're a jerk to someone else, I'll still block you.
Yeah.
um.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense. I don't like to associate with the people who are rude either.
Yeah, it's well, there's a use of a word that if you use it, I just automatically block you.
Okay.
It's not worth it. It's there's not. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. There's no use for it on that on Twitter about what I do.
Okay.
On what I do, there's no use for that word. That word can be used in different ways, has different meanings, but there's nothing, and none of those meanings apply to what I do, and I talk about the salary cap. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So if you see it, it's automatic block.
Automatic block. Boom. Done.
Okay.
Done.
Yeah. Twitter's an interesting place. That's for sure.
It's interesting. It's getting worse and worse because I cannot. I only follow 400 people. All right.
Yeah.
And yet I know I'm missing tweets from some of the people I follow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't. There's tweets I feel like that never come up for me. There are certain people I follow that I never see any of their tweets ever.
Yeah,
and I don't
exactly.
know why, because I used to be able to.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, what? Phil Yates tweeted this? When? Like
Yeah,
Mike
I never
Reese?
saw. Yeah.
I never like Mike Reese. How did I miss this? I'm like Mike Reese, my boy. I never saw that tweet.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know why it is like that now, but
Oh,
you
because
it's the
Elon
same
knows
people whose
everything.
tweets I can see now.
Yeah, Elon Musk knows everything. Yet he fired the people.
Apparently.
Yeah, yet he fired the people who was keeping it. Oh, I was like, folks, I work in IT. I think a basic rule is don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Oh, this for you thing is just oh my gosh, whose idea was that? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all either. I'd like
Okay,
to
so
see more people's tweets.
all right, all right. What else we gotta talk about cap wise?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we covered a lot.
All
We
right,
definitely covered a lot. I think,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think obviously over the next, month or so, when when we kind of figure out what the Patriots focus actually is and what they're planning on doing with certain players, it'll definitely be nice to then be able to see like, okay, what do we really have to work with? You know?
it'll be. We will know right in the first couple of days, like March
Yeah.
15th.
Yep.
Actually March 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. We'll know then.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be crazy for them. They got so many needs, and they got the needs at positions that cost a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
again, no, you don't get good offensive tackles cheap in free agency.
No,
All
no,
right,
no.
you don't. Um, like it's people talking about Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown's gonna probably get $20 to $25 million.
Yeah.
And Mike McKinchy, he's the best right tackle. Some people, 49ers fans, are willing to let him go. All right, and yet the page. A lot of people keep on bringing the name up. I'm like thinking, and all that you can get it for $10 million. I'm like, $10 million. Oh, all right. I'll be surprised if he gets just 10 million. I'll be wrong. I'll say it. I'll be willing. I think he's getting 15 at least.
Yeah.
So when you're the best right tackle in the game left and free agency, he might get 15, and he might actually get tagged too. I don't know about. Well, he might not. I don't know. Because the 49ers are tight and they get the cap.
Yeah.
So but he might get tagged because it's not. It's only $4 million, $19 million to tag him. Like you're going $15 million. Yeah, he probably won't get tagged. I shouldn't worry about it. But we'll see. Literally, some of those guys that people are talking about, they might get tagged. And folks, let's forget about Lamar Jackson, folks. There's no chance he's coming here. There's no chance.
There's people who love to kind of ride that narrative and keep saying, I would love to see Lamar Jackson here.
Okay. Why? Okay. Oh, he's not coming. He's not coming here at all. The Ravens are not here. The Ravens going to put the non-exclusive tag on him. All right. And if you think he's coming here, you're saying you're giving up Mac and probably this year's first round pick and next year's first round pick.
Yeah.
But or you think that Lamar Jackson's just going to magically become a free agent? Come on.
Yeah, it's not realistic to me, but some people are hoping it seriously happens.
Yeah, it's he's not becoming a free agent. The Ravens are not that stupid.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
If Bill O'Brien was a GM, sorry, Bill. I know you're a great offensive coordinator, but you're a lousy GM.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean it'd be nice, but it's not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate you hopping on here with me.
Oh, anytime. Now I could do this. We could do this live in the same room if you want one day.
Yeah, right. We definitely should actually because we don't live that far from each other.
I always wanted to do that. Do the show live right next to the person.
I know. Wouldn't that be cool? It'd be like almost like a real studio.
Yeah.
So, where you're like actually talking to the person with them next to you. We'll definitely have to do it again.
Yeah, because oh yeah, definitely do it again. And I love this. I love going on shows. This was really fun for me because it's the people who will listen to this because they listen. It's more not about the cap. It's more about like Miguel the person. Is saying
yeah.
So that was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
folks.
so
I got one last plug. if you can afford to do so, could you see my pinned tweet and donate some money to the Hartford Habitat of Humanity? And God bless everyone.
I love that. I love that. Everybody definitely I highly encourage you to do that as well, and appreciate you all tuning in. This was definitely a super fun episode. It was a really fast hour.
That was 10 minutes.
So yeah, so I definitely, I could talk all day, really, all night, and it's just a lot of fun. But again, I appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate everybody else tuning in. I will catch you all next time, and we'll definitely have to catch up again soon.
All right. See you in March.